Hey guys, good morning. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's 3:30 a.m. bright and early here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Originally, I was going to do two videos, but the more I thought about it, I think these two stories actually work together. Stick with me here. I want to talk about what happened in Atlanta, the violence that occurred there, massage parlors. This person that appeared to be claimed to be an addict, and being a recovery addict myself, I thought long and hard about this yesterday. Using empathy. What was this guy thinking? Because I've been in his shoes. Then I want to talk about this meeting in Alaska between U.S. diplomats and Chinese diplomats. The takeaway from it is, especially a lot of the conservative media outlets are saying that we got beat up. Biden's team got beat up. The Chinese and Russia are pouncing because Biden is weak and all this other stuff. And I want to talk about the back and forth between Putin and Biden. All right, with what happened in Atlanta on Fox News, for instance, there of course there definitely seems to be two camps in this country. This one camp, like Fox News and conservatives, that are saying what prejudice? That's in our past. Let's move forward. We're joking. We're kidding around. Everything's good. Everybody's a little prejudiced. And then there's the other side that see the sins of our past. With the way Native American people were treated, African American people, our whole history, the internment of Japanese citizens, and trying to move forward. Okay, there seems to be these two camps. So Fox News has been talking a lot about, well, what if this thing that happened in Atlanta wasn't race related? Now, I looked at that and I put myself in this guy's position. This is what I saw. This is my opinion, a recovering addict's opinion. I looked at his background, being evangelical, Christian, strong Christian. And I believe that he was suffering from guilt. This is what I think happened here. It doesn't appear that he's taking responsibility. He's not owning his addiction. And it appears that he thought by eliminating a part of what he did, that it would somehow help him. I think he looked at this as it was their fault, not his. He didn't take ownership. Look into himself as to why he's doing what he's doing. Like when I was in recovery, why did I even start this? Why did I feel the need to change the way I felt? So I think this was part of the his problem here. The perpetrator in Atlanta is he got frustrated, but he looked at the problem as other people, and didn't look into himself. Now, no matter how you look at this, even if it had something to do with him trying to eliminate his addiction, I think it still was a big part in his mind that Asian people were part of that. It would appear that these transactions he was making was with mostly Asian American women. So I think no matter how you slice this, in that guy's head, Asian American women and these outlets were his problem. They were tempting him. They were evil and tempting him. I get the feeling that's the way he was looking at this. So no matter how you slice it, what I'm trying to say here is I think a big part of it was he wasn't looking at himself for why he was doing this. Why he was doing this as some kind of source of relief for himself. There's a reason, insecurity or guilt or something that's making him obsessively do this. And it's not just a sex drive. So no matter how you look at this, if you look at the victims, the people who were victimized, there's no way you can say that race wasn't a factor in this. Okay, that being said, now moving on to the China-America meeting in Alaska. I don't think there's any way that we could jump back into international relations, diplomacy, easily after the way Trump handled the last 4 years. I think the rest of the world was just waiting for us to take us to task for the way. Look at Melania Trump and that jacket she wore. I don't care. Do you? When we were separating families on the southern border, Donald Trump assassinating Soleimani, and we want to go and start lecturing other countries on human rights violations. And look at the way Trump marched across the square in Washington there. The tear gas, clearing all these peaceful protesters with tear gas and rubber bullets so he could walk across with a Bible and walk back. And now we want to go on the international stage and start lecturing China about their human rights abuses in Taiwan or whatever. I think we're going to pay a price. We're going to pay a price for a long time, not just for stuff we've done, like with the internment of Japanese citizens back in the 40s, slavery, but this is the whole reason why we make an effort. Call it woke society, call it cancel culture. It's a genuine effort by American people to acknowledge their faults, called sins of the past, and correct themselves, because we can't go on the world stage and try to help other people like Taiwan be free from China, human rights violations. We can't go and lecture other people if we haven't owned up to what we've done in the past and tried to correct it. We can't just bury it and say, well, that was just who we were then. Laugh about it. Leave these statues up, being proud of it. We can't do that. That's the whole point of this. And then you look at this situation that happened in Atlanta, violence against Asian Americans. Now we want to go and meet these Chinese diplomats in Alaska and start lecturing them about treating people better. And we obviously have a lot of problems at home, not to even mention the whole insurrection at the Capitol. We got to get our own house in order first. To go on the world stage, I think it was going to happen after these last 4 years of Trump and this whole new, I don't care, do you, quoting Melania's jacket there, that kind of attitude, that kind of bully attitude, that, well, prejudice doesn't exist, and all that. And just, we're going to pay a price for this. We're probably going to pay a price for a long time. But that's the important reason, I think, of making efforts to acknowledge our past. That's the whole point of this woke culture or cancel culture. We can't just pretend it didn't happen. We can't just say, oh, well, it's not going to work. We're going to be hypocrites. We're going to be looked at as hypocrites. That's exactly the whole point. Like with Putin now. Think about it. Joe Biden going there and calling Putin a killer. Now think about this. Just because there's a new president, it doesn't mean like we are scrubbed clean of all Trump's indiscretions. They don't look at it that way. Okay, take Tiananmen Square in China. We still blame, we still beat up China about Tiananmen Square, right? Even though a lot of those people in China that were in charge then are gone. The same way they look at the United States. Our past indiscretions, they still look at the slavery. They still look at everything we've done in the past. Who we are in general, not just who we are in the last 2 months or months since Biden took over. And that's why. Now, back to Putin, calling Putin a killer. And look at Donald Trump assassinating Soleimani, the last American president. And Biden already launching attacks on, was it Syria? I don't even remember. And you see, you knew, you knew we were going to be called hypocrites. We kind of are. This is the whole importance of looking at ourselves, taking care of our own house, putting our own house in order before we can go out on the world stage and talk about China and the way they handle Taiwan or the way they handle Hong Kong. We have no moral ground to stand on unless we own up to what's going on in our own backyard. All right. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a great Saturday.